This is massive for the Toronto Maple Leafs, as Leafs brass finally admit that changes need to be made to win in Toronto. I'm going to dive into the impact this has on the future of the Leafs and the work they have to do this offseason coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say that 87% of you guys watching these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you're looking for a place for daily Leafs content, daily NHL content, you don't want to miss out on anything that's happening around the hockey world, make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button. But with that said, let's go right to the first topic of the video today, which is Easton Cowan is at it again. And yes, before we get into the Leafs management stuff, we're going to talk about Easton Cowan because this guy is having an exceptional playoffs with the London Knights. And as we take a look here, Easton Cowan followed up his 5-point night in Game 1 where he had 1 goal, 4 assists with a goal and 2 assists for a 3-point night, which would put him at 8 points so far in just 2 games of this playoff series. And this is just great to hear because obviously we're big fans of Easton Cowan here on the channel, and we really do expect him to be the future of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and to see the breakout season he had this year where he went on the longest point streak in London Knights history, and then now continuing that success on in the playoffs with a 5-point night and a 3-point night is just exceptional, and it shows how much dedication this guy has to playing hockey. I mean, to come off the back of one of the best seasons we've seen in a while, one of the best year-to-year improvements we've seen in a long time is just fantastic, and to show that he can get it done in the playoffs too is huge, especially for Toronto Maple Leafs fans, because unfortunately, Toronto Maple Leafs fans are accustomed to players having great seasons and not continuing their success into the playoffs. But that's not the case here for young prospect Easton Cowan. He has been proving that he can do it in the regular season and can do it in the playoffs. Yes, at the junior level, but if he can take this mindset, take this play that he's playing with right now and bring it into training camp, get through the preseason and crack this Toronto Maple Leafs lineup, this guy is going to light up the NHL in his first season, in my opinion. I don't think that he'll be a rookie of the year or anything like that, but I do think that he will have a great first season in the NHL, and I think, he could definitely take this over from the OHL to the NHL. Probably not getting, 90 points, 5-point nights in the playoffs, but if he can contribute, a goal and assist, be a point-per-game player in the playoffs even, is going to be huge for this Toronto Maple Leafs team. And I think that a lot of Toronto fans should keep an eye on this series, keep on the London Knights series, watch Easton Cowan, get a taste of what he can bring to this Toronto Maple Leafs team, because, Toronto Maple Leafs are out of the playoffs right now. So why don't you have a look at the London Knights and give Easton Cowan a watch, because this guy is phenomenal. I mean, a 5-point night, then to back that up with a 3-point night is just crazy. I mean, really love to see this guy break out of his shell this year after overcoming all the criticism and everything from the media for the Leafs picking him, and now just being a great player here in the OHL, and hopefully we will get to see him in this Leafs lineup next year. We are expecting, if, next year with the cap situation and everything, to bring up another young guy like they did with Matthew Nyes, and I think Easton Cowan really fits the bill over a guy, Fraser Minten. Yes, I know they're both playing different positions, but if you have one choice to bring up either one of these guys, I think Easton Cowan is the choice 100%. Do I think Fraser Minten will make the team as well? Yes, I think he's having a great year as well, but Easton Cowan is putting up numbers that nobody expected him to do, and he's shocking everybody in the playoffs by being an amazing player, showing his elite playmaking ability, his goal scoring. I hope this can transition into phenomenal play with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Easton Cowan down below in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts on him are. Do you think he cracks the Leafs lineup next year? Let me know down below. But we're going to get into the second topic of this video, which is, this is huge for Leafs fans. And yes, like I alluded to at the beginning of this video, the Toronto Maple Leafs GM Brad Treliving admitted that something needs to change here. And we're just going to look at his quotes here. And he says, when you go through a season as we have, everything must be on the table, meaning everything's on the table via trade for this offseason. He says, everything everything needs to be looked at. Everything needs to be considered. So it seems like Brad Treliving is weighing all of his options here come off season and is really going to put some hard work in to make this Toronto Maple Leafs team a playoff success. Because yes, like I've said in multiple videos, we have seen the Toronto Maple Leafs have exceptional regular seasons. But when it comes to the playoffs, something happens, and it might just be the mindset of, oh, we've been put in the first round so many times, the stress, the anxiety of being put out in the playoffs that, kind of just shuts down for everyone except for William Nylander, who plays good every single year. So to me, it seems like Brad Treliving is really going to put the work in to make some major moves happen, shake up the core of this entire Toronto Maple Leafs team to make them a success come playoff time. We see him do it with the defense. We've seen him bring in guys like Edmondson, who was great in the playoffs for Toronto, had some great shots, could have scored some goals there in the playoffs for them. Brought in Lyubushkin. I mean, he was a great player up there with Riley when he was brought in. We see him shake up this D-core, and it really helped the defensive side of things for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now he's going to look at the offensive side, which is what we really want to see happen, because obviously we've seen guys like Max Domi step up in the playoffs. Matthew Nye stepped up in the playoffs. It's just, these members of the core four, some of them obviously dealing with injury. We had Austin Matthews, we had William Nylander out, then came back and played phenomenal. But it really seems to me, from everything we're seeing here online surrounding the Toronto Maple Leafs, is there's going to be a big move to come. And whether it's just moving out one of these core fours, getting their contract off the books to bring in some, two players to fill these roles, these holes in the lineup that Brad Treliving is seeing from watching from the press box, I think that's what's going to happen. He also did go on to say here that I think we're at a point where we see this repeatable and we've got to dig in. The results sitting here today, when we think we should still be playing, isn't acceptable. So saying, this type of play isn't acceptable. And seeing that from a GM coming in off his first year of being the general manager of this club and saying, what we're seeing isn't acceptable. We're seeing kind of a pattern here repeating. We're losing to Boston. And, it's just what's happening. So just building a team, taking a look at the blueprint like the Boston Bruins have, like the Florida Panthers have, what has worked for them and what has made them successful franchises is really what Brad Treliving is going to look at this offseason and try to build a team that works. And I think what works for those teams is the young talent, like we just talked about Easton Cowan. You got to have those big guys with the big contract guys, but you also got to fill out this bottom six with young guys who have something to prove and want to prove that they're worth playing in the NHL. And obviously they have that with Matthew Nyes. He's shown that this year. He's shown that in the playoffs. So maybe bringing up Easton Cowan is a guy that, he wants to prove it. He just proved everybody wrong that they drafted the right guy. So maybe he wants to come in and say, hey, I'm here, Toronto. This is why you drafted me. This is why I should be playing here in Toronto. But other than that, like I said, there's going to be moves, there's going to be signings, there's going to be everything happening over this offseason, and it's really going to be an interesting offseason because obviously Brad Treliving coming from the Calgary Flames, they traded Matthew Tkachuk for Huberdeau, and Calgary Flames fans don't want to talk about that. They're rotted about that situation, but it's what had to happen. Matthew Tkachuk wasn't going to re-sign. They needed to trade somebody out and get something in return. So it is, the best option that he had at that point in time. So maybe we see this now where, they look at Mitch Marner and say, hey, we don't want you anymore. We're not going to re-sign you. We're not willing to negotiate that contract that you want, that $11+ million. So we're going to look for a trade. We're going to work with you on a trade destination and try to get as much back as we can. And that's really what I see happening. Is there a world where Mitch Marner stays and the core four lives on? Yes, I could see that being, the more prominent option. Honestly, I think that we could see this happen more than a big trade happen because, maybe a new coach comes in, they in the interviews, they're like, I really think I can work with this core four. I really do think I can make this work here in Toronto. Maybe, they keep it intact and try it and run it back another year with the core four. And then if it doesn't work, they blow it up next season. Or maybe a coach comes in, they're like, yeah, we need something to change here. I need this, this, and this for my game plan to work. Then, this is when we will see these big moves and everything happen. Obviously, when we get a coach signed with Toronto, we'll get more of a gist of what type of style of coach he is, what type of players he likes, and stuff like that, which will give us more information about, what the Leafs are going to do over this offseason. But if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, it's going to be an interesting offseason. It's going to be a scary one for sure because the uncertainty right now, as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, would be really scary. But I think change is good, and I think change is going to come, and Brad Treliving is going to shape this team into a West Coast team kind of vibe on this team. We've seen it this year with Ryan Reeves, Max Domi, Tyler Bertuzzi, all these guys being brought in. So I think this is going to continue into next season, and I'm really excited for it. I think Toronto Maple Leafs have a good future ahead. I know a lot of Leafs fans are still heartbroken over that Game 7 loss, but you got to be optimistic. You got to think that it's eventually going to work here in Toronto. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that down below in the comment section. Are you expecting a big move, or do you think it's going to be all the same? Let me know down below in the comment section. We're going to get everybody's favorite topic here on the channel, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to James. James says, Gerard Gallant's the guy for the job. And James, I have to agree with you here. I really think that Gerard Gallant is the guy I would take as the coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think he's done a lot of great work as a coach in the NHL. Doesn't have that Stanley Cup on his resume, but I think he will have it if he comes to Toronto. And gotta say, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Everybody appreciates all the work you do for your children out there every single day of the year. Happy Mother's Day to my mother as well. And we just had to say that here at the end of the video. But if you guys enjoyed this one, make sure down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 3,500 subscribers, and we're almost there. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, get us one more sub closer to our goal. We'd really appreciate it. And if you want to check out a video we did yesterday, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC. Keep your stick on the ice.